Hey yoga family, Kia Williams here coming at you with a yoga tutorial. So this tutorial comes from one of the mamas in the Yoga Mamas Facebook group, and she's also a yoga teacher, and she asked about ways that we can help our students who have issues with their knees, right? So we know there's a lot of poses in yoga that we do either on our knees, kneeling, or that require us to turn our knees in a certain way that might be a problem if you have something like arthritis in your knees, or if you've had some kind of knee surgery. Like my husband has had 2 knee scopes on both of his knees. So there's certain range of motion that we're limited to if we've had those issues. So this yoga tutorial will address 2 key things that I like to do for my students in order to kind of help them along the way, still be able to get into their postures. So the first thing I like to do with students who've had knee issues or knee surgeries is to offer them kind of modifications of normal poses. All right, so for instance, this posture, Virasana, requires a lot of twerk on the knee. It's really good for your knees if your knees are healthy. However, if you have had surgeries, this angle is a little too deep. So one of the things that you can do when you're trying to get your students in a posture like this is to give them support, right? So you can use supportive blankets. I'm going to show you a couple of ways to do that. Another issue that comes up when we're dealing with someone with knee issues is that when we turn the hip out, or we externally rotate the hip, then the knee kind of gets twerky at the same time. So for instance, sitting in Sukhasana, easy pose, can be an issue if you're turning out from the hip and you're also turning the knee and increasing the flexion on the knee. So we'll use props to support that. But the main pose that's really an issue is pigeon pose. Now my husband cannot get into pigeon pose. So one option for pigeon pose is just to come at less of an angle. So I call this my cheerleader sit pose, but it's really a modification of pigeon pose. To sit on that hip and swing one leg back and see how much the angle here is decreased or increased because I'm not pulling the leg all the way in. Another way to do pigeon pose is to simply do it on your back, right? So instead, we're gonna lay down here, we're gonna cross the ankles. And one of the key things here to support the knee is to really flex the foot, right? So really make these kind of monster toes go and flare the pinky toe out a lot and really keep the ankle very active. That engages this outer muscle of the calf and helps us to find more support around the knee. So you can do this reclined leg cradle this way. If you need more stretch in the hip, if you're doing this pose, you can just bring the knee in. And if you can't, for whatever reason, reach that knee, you're just gonna use the aid of a strap, wrap it around the leg that's on the bottom, and then pull that leg in, yep, and do it like that, all right? All right, so in terms of support, hello.
I was just gonna set up
That's
the
okay.
outline.
In terms of support, if you're sitting on, if you have blankets, blankets become a yogi's best friend when you have knee issues. So you're gonna use a blanket and sit on top of the blanket to give you a little more open of an angle in your hips. And then you're gonna support your knees with blankets as well, right? So you can stack these blankets up as high as you want to find that support. Again, what becomes really important too is to keep the flexion in the feet, relax the knees, keep those pinky toes flared out, and bring the knees on top of the blanket. So whether you need to roll them up a lot or not is perfectly fine. So this is your modification of easy pose or even lotus pose. We wouldn't go into lotus pose. As for that kneeling pose that I started off in, you're gonna do the same thing. You might bring a blanket down underneath of the knees to give a little extra cushion if your mat's not cushiony. And then you're gonna take your blankets and roll them up like a sausage and put them on your calves and sit your buns down on here. Now, this can be as high or as not high as you want it. So you can really keep stacking and stacking until you get to an angle that feels okay and comfortable on the knees. Now, in yoga, we talk a lot about going to the edge of your stretch, going to the edge of your strength capabilities, but going to the edge is not the same thing as going to a pain point. If you feel any pain in your body during your yoga practice, especially in your joints, you want to back out of the pose and take some form of modification. Now, that's all I got for you for knees this time. If you have any questions about how to support yourself or how to support your students with their knees, please feel free to drop me a line in the comment section. If you want a little more information about this or want me to do a yoga tutorial on something else that interests you, drop me a line in the comment section and let me know about it. And until next time, thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I'll talk to you later. Bye. Hey Yoga Mama, thanks so much for watching my video. But if you'd like more simple tips to help you juggle your busy life as mom, I have just the thing for you. I've just created a brand new video that's specifically designed for moms who have a lot on their must-do list, but could use some practical tips to help them do motherhood with more ease and joy. Now, I've done my research and my own personal yoga practice, and I've come up with a simple 3-step system that I use all the time to help me increase my energy, improve my focus, and decrease my stress. And that's exactly what you'll learn in this free video. Now, the really cool thing about this yoga-based system is that each step can take less than 10 minutes, and you don't need a yoga mat, stretchy yoga pants. You don't even need to be alone to make these strategies work in your life. Now, you can sign up for this free, totally free video by going to nourished-motherhood.com/video and start feeling the peace, balance, and ease that you deserve to feel in your mom life. See you around.